Hello, welcome back to the channel.
What are we talking about? I don't know what this video is about.
This video is about how you're making me work. Are you done drinking water? Today we are shooting a video. The topic is how my husband feels guilty for making me work.
Oh yeah, I do feel guilty about making you work.
So the way our relationship began, I feel like it's an important aspect of like why you feel guilty for making me work right now. Do you know what I mean? Because in reality, I mean, in every household, most households, both the husband and wife work.
When we got married, it never crossed my mind what you would do for work.
But I feel like also because you grew up in a family where both parents were working and you saw them struggling all the time, I think that part of you busting your ass off to, you know, create...
You busted my ass off? Who the hell busts an ass off? You don't have to say off, you can just say busting your ass.
Oh, okay.
Busting your ass off. But
you busted your butthole.
No one's busting buttholes. What do you...
Oh my god, let me speak, don't correct me.
Okay.
The reason why you work so hard is that you had this like vision of how you wanted, you know, your life and your family dynamic to work.
No, that's incorrect.
You don't think so?
I never had a conscious thought about what you would do. The first time that it crossed my mind of you doing something that would contribute to making money in the household is when a random payment showed up in our bank account, and it was a sponsor. You had, I don't know, you had maybe 30 or 40,000 followers at the time, and I wasn't really paying attention to what you're doing on social media. And there was this just when this random amount of money came in, and you told me that this was a sponsor who paid you, I then identified this as a business opportunity, and then it snowballed up until today.
So why do you feel? What is this notion of like you feeling guilty for the fact that I'm working? Where did it come from?
I guess it's not that you're working, it's that you stress. I don't want to see you stress, right? So I think the kind of caveman in me says, oh, like I want to provide for my wife to such a degree where she has the option to do nothing.
And he's like, I'm gonna make you a star.
Yeah. So I often have these feelings of guilt, the fact that you have to work. And the thing that calms me down is that I feel that you have even though you have more stress and more responsibility doing what you do, you, I think, are more fulfilled, and in the long term and even in the short term, I think you're happy. It would have been nice if I could say, oh, my wife doesn't have to work, but my wife does have to work. So I guess it's a male ego thing. That's why I feel guilty about it.
Our relationship started from a place that for you as a man, you were kind of like, okay, this is going to look like this, you know?
Yeah.
I'm making all this money, and then, Valeria, that's why I think you also didn't really think about what I'll be doing, because you're like, she can do whatever she wants, like I don't care. Like you were focused on this is the scenario of our lives.
But I also knew you wouldn't be like a homemaker.
Because I'm really bad at that, by the way. This is something I'm very bad at.
Just to be really clear, so everybody knows, Valeria works more than I do. Like if you look at just the amount of time that she puts in, the hours that she works, it's actually much more than I do. And it's interesting because I take a role where I'm the one who's driving the kids and I take them to a lot of their stuff.
You felt like you needed to like balance it out, being like, she works a lot, but I work too. I think that it's so interesting that in our lives, the way it worked was that in the beginning, it was you doing your kind of more traditional male role of going and trying, like building a career and doing a business and blah, blah, blah. And then kind of life took its turn where we both discovered this opportunity business-wise.
Yeah.
And it kind of flipped on, creating all these businesses around me, which is really funny. And you have a very huge part of this, of building all these companies and the strategy and everything around it. Like you come with your experience and knowledge, but
you still have to work.
Yeah.
You still have to work. But again, so my guilt of you having to work, and especially having to work as much as you do, is offset by two things. One is that you enjoy it. You really do enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And number two is I feel that you're actually, you're doing something very meaningful. You're doing something really important. And I know that sometimes people look at influencers and they don't really understand, but like what they do and what value they bring, but you bring so much value. And for me, when I'm reading the comments, especially on all the platforms that you're on, and I see the effect that you have on people, or you share DMs with me where women will reach out and say how much you've changed their lives. That means a lot. So again, like the guilt is offset by the fact that you are doing something A, that you love, and B, that is really meaningful and that will really provide you with legacy. And then the third component of it is I feel that you as a woman are setting a very, very good example for our 3 sons. And I think you're going to be setting the bar really high when it's time for them to start dating and eventually get married. This video went from why I feel guilty to why I actually feel good about it, because the more I think about it, the better I feel about it.
What are each of your titles and responsibilities?
My official title is co-founder. I think your official title is creative director, but this isn't the standard corporate environment.
In the operations and strategy, and I am more involved in anything to do with creative content and strategy as well. So I think that like Rachel and Gary work very closely together, and they're very much like are heavy in operations, which I try not to do because from our experience before we had Rachel, who's our CEO, when I was involved in operations as well with Gary, it just sucked the creative energy out of me, and I actually couldn't do what I do best, which is the creative and the content.
I feel like in order for you to stay creative, you really need to not be kind of involved in the day-to-day minutia. But that minutia is it's important because it's
of course it's important.
It's what builds a business.
I always say like we wouldn't be able to be where we are if all these day-to-day things weren't taken care of.
But they're taken care of by your team.
They are taken care of by your team. So I would say that there's kind of 2 buckets. There is the creative team and the creative team and the content team, which I am that I work with, and then Gary works with anything to do with operation and strategy and all that jazz. Do you work in the same space? We don't, unless I shoot at home, and there's some content that I shoot at home.
I also go to the studio and I work at the studio sometimes when she's not there. So she can't be filming at the same time that I'm there. I think eventually we're going to get a space where it's going to be part studio and part office. But yeah, right now I mostly work from home and Valeria mostly works from the studio.
What work does Gary do outside of working with Valeria?
So outside, more and more, it's working with Valeria. I have another YouTube channel with, I think it's got over 4 million subscribers that I started with a different group. I manage our real estate investments, our stock market portfolios.
And honestly, our lives. But also because of this asset that we have of the personal brand, we get a lot of other things coming in because of it. And I think that's where Gary is, more involved in and kind of look at these opportunities.
Today I was contacted by a CPG brand. CPG is consumer packaged goods. So they reached out and they want to know if we want to make an investment. So I'll look at that. I had a fitness app reach out to us last week saying, hey, like, you guys want to take an equity position in this app? So I'll do those assessments and I'll have a lot of those meetings. Like I probably take, 3 to 5 business development meetings a week, just with various people who come to us either for us to invest in their concepts, knowing that we can leverage the personal brand and the access to the audience.
How do you separate your personal time and work? I think it's all intertwined. I feel like before I was way more adamant on like having this distinction, but what I've realized is that it's just not very possible. It's not like such a black and white situation. And to me, I just know my boundaries way better in terms of, voicing when I don't want to talk about business. At the end of the day, we're so excited about our business together and we work together and it's something that we're both passionate about. So, we talk about it a lot and it's part of our personal lives.
Valeria was just in Paris for Paris Fashion Week. She was in New York. A couple weeks before that, she comes back, she tells me all these cool things that happen. I tell her about these meetings that I have and the progress that we're making with the team. I don't know, it's just...
It's part of what keeps us close and part of what, we are excited about. And that's it. At the end of the day, we're raising kids. Our kids are a very big component of our conversations, the business. And I wouldn't say that we make such an effort to have a very, huge separation between work and life. It's kind of all together.
Yeah, but I think it's a positive thing. I think especially when we talk about business around the kids, I think for them it's a positive thing where they can grow up in an environment where there are healthy conversations about business.
How do you prevent work stress from interfering with your relationship? It's a valid question, but I feel like everyone deals with it. Even if you don't work together, you come home and you have your stress, and it does interfere in your daily lives. I think for us, it's better because we can figure out how to solve the stress. Like if I have something going on my end that makes me stressed, I come to Gary, I'm like, hey, this is what I'm facing with, like how can we fix it?
But I already have context because
Correct.
This is our business together. Or if I'm having an issue with anything to do with our business,
yeah,
you already have context, you already know what's going on. So
right, and this is our business, so we can take the steps to change something that's not working for us. So I feel like it's actually beneficial. And is there stress? Yeah, there's always stress. I
think that we are each other's support system when it comes to the stress, behind anything business related, or anything else for that matter.
How do you deal with conflicting ideas / opinions?
Well, if it's like our own conflicting ideas and opinions, if we disagree on something, this is not complicated. You discuss it, you're mature about it, you remove your ego, and you talk about it until you get a conclusion.
I think also in a lot of cases, I know what my strengths are and what's authentic to me. He knows what his strengths are. So if we have a discussion about, let's say, a strategy, at the end of the day, I know he has his eyes way more on top of like our day-to-day and kind of the strategy of the business. So I voice my opinion and my kind of feedback, and he takes it and then he kind of decides what to do with it. And then in terms of content or things like that are more creative, where it's more my voice and my authenticity, he can bring his opinions forward. I will think about it, but at the end of the day, I move forward with what feels right for me. So I think that again, because we have a pretty distinctive roles in the company, it makes it easier for us to kind of know who leads that department. What is the best part and hardest part of working together?
I mean, I think we touched on it. I mean, the best part is just sharing in the successes together.
I think the hardest thing is to know when to push and when to pull. No?
No, there's nothing hard for me.
Really?
No, I like it.
Okay. Do you ever feel like you can't escape work when you're around each other?
No. I find, maybe you don't, I don't know. I find it easy to, when I see that you don't want to talk about business, I just don't talk about business. And then it's not like I have this burning desire that I'm going to explode if I don't talk to you about it.
Right.
I wait until you're okay to talk about it, and then I talk about it.
I feel like I used to have it and I wouldn't be vocal about it. Like I would feel the need to have the conversation even if I don't want to. But now I'm way more like open, and I communicate with Gary where I said, you know what, today let's not talk about it. And he's very respectful, and like we move on. Do you ever wish Gary hadn't become involved in your work? Honestly, no, because I don't think I would have gotten to this point and learned all these lessons if he wasn't involved in it. And not like thinking that it's not necessarily that like I owe him the success, but he has been such an amazing like mentor and support system and a business partner that I feel like it would have taken me way longer to even find my voice if he wasn't by my side. Do you have anything else to add?
Just about the whole thing with the dogs, but you don't want to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about the dogs.
All right.
I just feel like it will derail this whole conversation.
Stay tuned to the next YouTube video where we talk about this thing about dogs.
Let us know if you have any other questions. I hope we gave enough context and information, because I do feel like people always ask, what do you guys do? How do you work together? How does this even work? So hopefully that shed a bit of a light on that. I love you guys. Thank you for watching this video. See you next time. Thanks.